So one request I've been receiving here at the channel from new and returning players, and this is pretty much since the start of Year 6 Season 3, is to highlight some of my favorite builds to currently use in the game. Now for the record, these builds are completely and totally viable whether you are using global modifiers or not, and today I'm going to be starting a new series at the channel where every few weeks I revisit a handful of builds that I'm currently using, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. Now as we start this video off, I would like to mention a few things really quick. First of all, the build breakdowns you are about to see are from previous build videos I've posted probably over the last few weeks. And the build breakdowns you are going to see today are as follows. We got a Heartbreaker build, we have a run and gun build, and we have a skill build based around the new Refactor gear set. Now as I leave you with the gameplay footage, I'd also like to ask a favor. Let me know in the comments section what builds are you currently running in the game, and not only that, what type of builds would you like to see me highlight here at the channel over the next few weeks. I can tell you right now I got a blue screen build lined up. We're doing something based around the backfire. I'm doing a Seeker Mine build. I mean, there's really a ton of stuff to do. And one thing I know I'm guilty of as a player is I get into these routines where I just use the same build types over and over. I don't really branch out. And when you actually try something different, it changes up the game entirely, makes it much more enjoyable. And one thing you will see here at the channel in the upcoming weeks and months is my taking your build ideas that you send me for me to try out and actually trying them out. Because Merland, if you're watching this video, you have been talking about your bro build for the last, I don't even know how long. And my friend, I finally put it together the other day. And the only thing I was thinking when I finally tried that build out was, why the f did it take me that long to try this thing? So once again, my friends, please feel free to leave any build ideas or things you want to see in the comment section. Now what you're going to see, like I said, is a Heartbreaker, a run and gun build, and a skill build. And after each build breakdown, you will see a little bit of gameplay footage. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time. And as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone. Now, starting with the specialization, we are using Technician, and the main reason for that is because that will give us access to the linked laser pointer, which we can then equip to any long-barreled weapon of our choosing, and when that's on a weapon, it's going to automatically pulse every single enemy we target, which comes into play with not only the talent we have on our weapon and our gear set, but also one of the modifiers. Now, always remember when it comes to these, you have so many different ways you can run with a build like this. The most important thing, take your time, make a build your own, all that good stuff. As you can see, we do have the global modifier Rogue Momentum active, and as I said a moment ago, while having these unlocked are completely and totally optional, I really recommend making your way through the journey missions all the way to 7, because when you have all of these unlocked, you can put some insane builds together. Now as you can see on screen, my active modifier is Tactical Supremacy, and my passive modifiers are Fortified Shield, Reactive Reinforcement, and Microwave Coils, which happens to be, in my opinion, easily one of the best ones. Now with that modifier equipped, up to 4 enemies affected by Pulse now receive the burn status effect. You can also gain 5% bonus momentum for every affected hostile. Now remember, because we have that linked laser pointer equipped, it means just by aiming at an NPC, chances are they're going to go up in flames, which is obviously great for crowd control, and when you combine that with using your pulse, it's really badass. I mean, you'll see some gameplay footage in a moment. It really happens to be a lot of fun. Now my primary weapon for this build is the Kingbreaker, which was one of my favorite weapons to use in the game, but with Title Update 22, which was a full title update ago, they made the weapon stronger, but they reduced the RPM, which kind of killed the weapon for me. But with these new global modifiers, this thing is an absolute monster. Now it does have the talent Perfect Flatline, and that is going to amplify weapon damage by 20% to pulsed enemies, which is every single enemy we target because we do have that linked laser pointer equipped. Now my secondary is the Rock and Roll Shotgun. Now the main reason I'm using this is to build stacks for the Heartbreaker gear set. And if you do not have the Rock and Roll Shotgun, I recommend using an ACS-12 with a regular talent flatline, that's fine. Again, make sure you have that linked laser pointer equipped, because the main point in using it is to build those stacks. I will show you an example in the build breakdown. That now takes us to the gear itself, and you can see we are running 1 Overlord, 1 Brazos, and 4 Heartbreaker, which is what we're going to start with. Now we're running 4 so we get all of the gear set bonuses. 2 pieces 15% assault rifle and LMG damage, 3 pieces 15% weapon handling, and 4 pieces Heartstopper. And with that talent, weapon hits on pulsed enemies adds a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1.1% weapon damage up to a max of 50 stacks. However, because we are using the Heartbreaker body armor, it's going to increase max stacks from 50 to 100. And one thing you'll notice is on every single piece of gear, I'm trying to stack crit hit chance and crit hit damage everywhere I can. Now when it comes to the holster, you do have options. For this version of the build, I am using Picaro's holster. That does give us an armor core, plus we get some extra weapon damage as well. Again, you can try out different variations. Like I said earlier, make a build your own. Next, we do have the knee pads. Now we're using these because of that middle attribute, which is 8% damage to targets out of cover. And as you've heard me mention multiple times in previous videos, these are still one of the best knee pads in the game without a doubt. Next, we have the gloves and the backpack. They are the two remaining pieces of the Heartbreaker gear set. And because we are using the Heartbreaker bag, that gives us access to the Talon Cold, which is going to increase the bonus armor gain per stack of Heartstopper from 1% to 2%, which is obviously a very good thing. When it comes to my skills, I'm using the Crusader Shield because can easily get sideways with these modifiers running. And I'm also using the Pulse, which obviously comes into play with microwave coils, so I'm going to light a bunch of people on fire. Hope this video helped you out, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. With the specialization, you can see I'm using Gunner. Main reason for that is because it does give me access to the Banshee Pulse. And that is something that is definitely going to help you out, especially as you're approaching a group of NPC with a global modifier active. And one thing I'd like to mention as we continue is that even if you use this build without any global modifiers going whatsoever, I promise you, my fellow agents, it is an absolute monster. Now moving on to the build itself, my primary weapon is the Dark Winter SMG. Now one thing I've said previously is that this is one of those must-have weapons for every player out there. Now it happens to be a PvP exclusive, but you can also get it from name caches as well. Now in the meantime, if you do not have this weapon, which does have the Talon Perfect Killer, killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 90% crit hit damage for 10 seconds, which is a lifetime in this game. And for those of you out there who do not have this weapon, while you're trying to pick it up, feel free to use any other SMG with the regular Talon Killer on it. I promise you that can still get the job done. Or use something else. You could use Lady Death, the Ouroboros, the Oxpecker. You could even use St. Elmo's. I mean, even though it's not an SMG, this gear set, when you are so close to enemies, you are absolutely decimating everything left and right. And again, to be very clear, that's with or without the global modifiers active. Now moving on to my secondary, it's an ACS-12 with a Talon Close and Personal. Again, feel free to put anything you want in its stead, which is now going to take us to the gear itself, and I'm going to show you a few different variations you can run with. Now starting with the mask, you can see it is the first of 4 pieces of the Hunter's Fury gear set. We're running 4 so we get all of the gear set bonuses. 2 pieces 15% shotgun and SMG damage, 3 pieces 20% armor on kill and 50% health on kill. And 4 pieces Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. Killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Now moving on to the body armor, it's the 1 piece of Sokolov. That's going to give us an extra 10% SMG damage bonus. And you can see I'm using the Talent Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. That is also going to stack up to 20 times. Continuing on to the holster, the knee pads, and the gloves, they are the 3 remaining pieces of the Hunter's Fury gear set, and you'll notice on a few of these pieces I've decided to change my core to armor just for a little more survivability. You may want more, you may want less. I also want to mention the fact that I'm trying to stack crit hit chance and crit hit damage everywhere I can on this build. Last but not least, we have the backpack, which as you can see is the memento, and as a solo player, this is probably the best backpack in the game. As you're picking up those trophies, you're going to get that extra weapon damage, bonus armor, skill efficiency. You do have some other options as well, which I will highlight in a moment. Now in this version of the build, I'm sitting at 59% crit hit chance. Remember the max is 60 and 125.8 crit hit damage. That is going to be dependent on not only the gear I have equipped, but having a Shade Watcher level 1000. Now another great option if you do not want to use the memento for whatever reason, you can use a piece of Sokolov on your chest like you can see here, and on this version, You can see I'm using the talent Intimidate, and with that talent, when you have bonus armor, you're going to get a weapon damage increase to enemies within 10 meters, which directly coincides with the talent on your gear set. This build is truly designed for run and gun close quarters combat. Now making our way to the backpack, I have switched to a second piece of Sokolov, and that is going to give us an extra 13% crit hit damage bonus, and I'm using the talent Bloodsucker. When you kill NPCs, it's going to give you bonus armor. That's going to directly coincide with the talent on our chest, our gear set, all that good stuff. So again, my fellow agents, when all of this is combined, there's really good synergy. And when you look at the numbers of this version, you can see I'm still sitting at 59% crit hit chance. Remember, the max is 60 and 164 crit hit damage. Now I point that out because again, even though my crit hit damage is higher, I'm not getting certain buffs with the memento. So again, fellow agents, try out different variations, truly make this build your own. Now, as I said previously, while the modifiers are completely and totally optional, when you have them on, it is absolutely even more insane than before. All right, so you can see right here, I'm using the active modifier Overdrive. And my 3 passive modifiers are Fortified Shield, Critical Recovery, and Critical Momentum. Now, if you have no idea how to unlock these, I'm going to leave a link to a video I posted the other day. It's going to walk you through all the details. Good morning, my fellow agents. Happy Saturday to each and every one of you. It's been crazy. We had this dumpster day in our neighborhood. So, you know, they set up all these dumpsters throughout the neighborhood so people can get rid of some shit that's just been laying around. And it's supposed to start at 8 a.m., right? But you have people lining up at like 7, and it's insane what some people are dropping off. And it's crazy because I'm trying to get rid of stuff, but you see people throwing away things and you totally want to take it, which is, you know, that defeats the purpose of going there in the first place. Anyway, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. What's today's question going to be? Are we going to do these every day? And for those of you that may not know, at the end of every video now, I kind of do just a little, you know, chit-chat with you, and I ask these random questions. What are your plans for the weekend? How about that? Just, you know, basic plans. For me, did the dumpster day, got to go to an eye doctor appointment. I think that's all I got. Maybe do some work in the yard. Who knows? Bed Bath & Beyond? I don't know. I don't know if I have enough time. If you know that quote, reference the movie in the comment section. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you again for everything, and I'll see you in the next one.
Control point nearby.
Now, starting off with the specialization, you can see I'm using Technician. Doing that for a few main reasons. First of all, you do get that extra skill tier, which allows you to change the core attribute on one of your other pieces to armor or weapon damage. You also get an extra 12% damage bonus to drone, skill proxies, and robotics. So if you happen to use this build, which you can, on legendary difficulty, you're going to run into a bunch of those, so that definitely helps out. And always remember, regardless of the specialization you choose, have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. Now, my primary for this build is the Harmony Rifle because of its talent perfectly in sync, and this just happens to be my go-to weapon when it comes to a skill build. Now, if you do not have this weapon, you can use any other rifle with the regular talent in sync. I can promise you that can still get the job done. And if you are trying to pick it up, it is a PvP exclusive, but you can also get it from named caches. Now, my secondary is the Capacitor. As I've said in previous videos, this is a must-have exotic. Now, thankfully, this is in the general loot pool. Another option, if you don't have this weapon, is the Test Subject. That also has the talent perfectly in sync. And if you are trying to get the Capacitor, I recommend hitting up the Summit or Countdown, set your targeted loot to Assault Rifle, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Now, when it comes to your sidearm, one thing I like to highlight anytime I put a skill build together is if you happen to use the TDI card custom, which does have a skill tier, always remember that skill tier is only going to be active when you're actually using the weapon. It needs to be in your hand, so please make sure you take that into consideration anytime you're putting a skill build together. Now, moving on to the gear itself, you can see I'm running 2 Hannah U and 4 of the new refactor gear set. I cannot put this down. It's so much damn fun. Anyway, running 4 so we get all of the gear set bonuses. 2 pieces 15% status effect, 3 pieces 25% skill damage. And 4 pieces return to sender, where you're going to receive repairs of 10% of the damage dealt by your skills, and your allies are going to receive 20% of the damage dealt by your skills as well. So it's great for solo or in a group, and I know for a lot of players out there, let's say you've been struggling between challenging and heroic, or heroic and legendary. This could be one of those gear sets, as I was mentioning earlier, that could help you actually get past something you've been struggling with for a while. Now moving on to the body armor, it's the first of 2 pieces of Hannah U. Now you can see the 2 pieces are going to give us 10% skill haste and 10% skill damage. And one thing you'll notice is on every single piece of gear, I'm going to stack skill damage and a combination of skill haste or skill duration everywhere I can. Now as far as my talent is concerned, I'm using glass cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 20%. All damage you take is amplified by 50%. And in both the comments sections of the previous videos I posted around this gear set, which again I will leave a link to in the video description, everyone said run 2 Hannah U, do glass cannon and perfect combined arms, which we'll get to in a second. Y'all were right. It's absolutely f***ing lights out. It's so much damn fun. Anyway, now we have the holster, the knee pads, and the gloves. 3 final pieces of the refactor gear set. Last but not least, my friends, we have the backpack, which is that second piece of Hannah U. We are using the name bag force multiplier. It does have the talent perfectly combined arms. Again, it's one of the best talents in the game for a skill build. And as we wrap this portion of the video up, please remember that this is just a template. This is one of so many different ways you can run with a build like this. The most important thing is to truly take your time, make a build your own, try out different variations. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm using my 2 favorite in the game, and that is the assault drone and the assault turret because I just like the way they handle. But again, if you prefer something else, use that instead, my fellow agents. Hope this video helped you out, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the family that we have here at the channel. So if you happen to have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know, as the main goal is to help out as many people as we can. Alright, so on that note, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time, and as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Rogue agent detected.